Tech by Tips.
Welcome to another Tech by Tips video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about an application named Bazarr, and this is an application used to retrieve subtitles for your videos, mainly like anime and TV series and movies is what we're talking about here, since we're setting up our whole infrastructure here. We're connecting Bazarr to Sonar and Radar. So if you're a person that is bilingual maybe, or in your family there's people that speak multiple languages, it's really good because you could hear it in one language and then have the subtitle in another language. Or maybe if you're hard of hearing, or you have friends or family that are hard of hearing, it's really good to have those subtitles for them so that they can enjoy the movie. So like and subscribe. Thank you for being here, and I hope you like this video. We're almost wrapping up this series about doing a home theater PC. And yeah, let's get to it. Alright, and we have already set up our system to download our anime and TV shows using Sonar, our movies using Radar, our music using LiDAR, etc. So why are we still talking about other apps? Well, we have a good companion app here for your TV, anime, and movie managing applications, and we're talking about an application named Bazarr. This is a companion application for mainly Sonar and Radar because it helps you to automatically grab the subtitles for your content. So let's say you download a TV show or a movie and the file doesn't come with the subtitles included. This application will download the subtitles for you, and it is great for everyone, but especially like if you or any friends of yours don't speak the language of the movie maybe, or they're hard of hearing maybe, and you want to have those subtitles there, this application is going to be your best friend. So it's an R, but contrary to most of the R's, this is a Python based application, but it is pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and pretty useful. And it has 110 contributors, a good application. If you want to read about it, you can come here and read in github.com/morpheus65535/Bazarr. And let's get to it. Let's install this in Docker in our Synology NAS. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go here into our NAS. We have all of our applications running, so we're going to the registry and we're looking for Bazarr. And as usual, we're going to grab the one that says Linux server Bazarr. And here we're going to wait a little bit for it to load from the container registry, and then we'll pick the latest version to download it. So latest, and we click select. Now we go into the image here, we wait for it to download. We should see Bazarr slowly being downloaded from the internet. It's a pretty short application, it doesn't take a lot of space, so it should be pretty quick. And just like that, it has finished downloading. It's 421 megs, pretty big compared to other ones that we have downloaded, but still not bad. So now that we have that, we can proceed and double click it so that we can create a container from it. In here we click on next and we rename this as Bazarr. We enable resource limitation, we enable auto restart, and we click on advanced settings. And as usual, we're going to check here, or we already have the time zone, but it's the wrong time zone. So let's make that our own time zone, and then add two more variables here for the process user ID. 1026 the usual, process group ID, 100 is the usual. I've had some people putting comments on the series because apparently they've not watched the other videos, or they have not read in the comments. But the process UID and the process group ID is something that you grab from within the NAS. You can SSH into your NAS as the user that you created, and then run the command ID, and it should give you the process user ID and the process group ID so that you can have those numbers. This allows you to have the right permissions to the folders because it's going to run the container as the user that you specified in the NAS. So make sure that you always use the right ID for the user and the group that you have given access to the folders. So now that we have the time zone, the IDs, nothing else to do here. We can save this, and we're back here, and we proceed to click next. And in this case, we have port 8088 that we have not used in our NAS, so we're going to select that. The container is listening on 6767, so we proceed and click next. And now we need to map folders here, and it's important that we're going to map a few. So we click on add folder. The first one is we're going to go into Docker configs. We're going to look for Bazarr. We don't have Bazarr, so we click on config, create folder, and then we make one for Bazarr. So now we should have the folder here for Bazarr. So we select it, and then additionally we're going to add the media anime, which is where we are storing our anime in the end. And then we're going to add also media movies, because that's where we're holding our movies at the end. And we're going to add media TV, because that's where we're going to be holding our TV shows. And in here we're going to say this one is going to map to /config inside the container, this one to /anime inside the container, this one to /movies inside the container, and this other one to /TV inside the container. And then we click next. We make sure that all the information is correct. We leave that checked and we click done. And that will create that container for us, mapped to the right user, so it has permissions, and it'll also map those folders inside locations of the container. Now we go back here where we have our running containers, and we'll see Bazarr coming up. We click on details and we go into log, and we monitor this to make sure that it has set itself up. It is starting, so we keep on refreshing until we see that it is actually listening for connections. I don't see that it's updating yet. Let's give it a little bit of time. Okay, now it started to work on itself to set up. Let's keep on refreshing this, and it says Bazarr is started and waiting for requests. So now we should be able to close this and go into our the IP of our NAS and put the port 8088, and that should load us here our application Bazarr. And here we're going to be doing the setup, so let's get to that part now. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do here is going to click on the option that says settings if it doesn't take you there directly. And the first thing is we're going to go into general. In general, this is basically to make some changes on the user interface and the listening address, etc. So we leave it like it is. And the security, we can go here and say again that we want form authentication, and then we provide a username and a password here so that we get prompted for the username and the password when we want to enter into the application. And here's the API key in case you need it to connect to other things in the future. This is where you get it. General, security, API key. And what else here? For the updates, we don't make any changes here. Logging. If you're having issues and you want to see more information in the logs about what's going on, you can come here into login and activate debug, but I'm not going to do it in the video. That's not what I need. And also become aware that within the config folder that we specified, there's a folder for backup where it's going to store backups of your application configuration. And basically that's all we need to do here. I just wanted to make sure that it prompts for the username and password. So now we can save here, and if we go again into the application after logging out, then we should see that it prompts for the username and password. So we can basically come here and say Bazarr, login, and there we go. So that part is working right now. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to go into languages here within settings, and here we have several options, right? Let's say that you are a bilingual person like me, or you might speak one language and you might have some other family members or friends in your household that speak another language, and you want the subtitles to be available for all the different languages, right? If you have that case, you do not toggle the thing that says single language, this here. So what you do is you will come here and specify the language that you want to download, right? Let's say, for example, in my case, I want English, so I would type EN and select English, so that adds English here. But I also like Spanish, so I can come here and say, okay, do I want Latin American Spanish or Spanish from Spain? I honestly don't find a difference. I usually pick up Spanish, and that usually works for all of them. So now I have English and Spanish. Let's say that I have I don't know, somebody that speaks Chinese. Interesting, here we have the Communist Chinese, which is the simplified, and the traditional Chinese, which is the one spoken in Taiwan and other places. So you would pick, for example, the Chinese simplified if it's a person from China. So now we have 3 languages selected in here in the languages filter, right? So in this case, let's say I want to remove one, I just click the X. So let's say only English and Spanish, right? So the next thing that we can do here is we scroll down a little bit, and let's see, language equals, I'm not going to do anything here. Embedded track language, I'm not going to do anything here. But then here where it says language profiles, this is something that you set up. You have 2 languages in this case, right? So you can say that you can have a profile for English only, you can have a profile for Spanish only, and you can have a profile for both of them. So you would come here and you would click, for example, add a new profile, and then we can call this profile English, and then we click on add language, and then in here we make sure that we select English, which is the 2 options that we currently set up, and which type of subtitle you want to use. There's several options. There's the normal or hearing impaired, the hearing impaired required, or the forced. I usually don't change this part, so I just leave it like that. And then here where it says cutoff, I just make sure that I select the code for the language here. So the cutoff is English, and must contain, I put nothing, I leave that blank. And then must not contain, I don't want to filter anything there, so I leave that blank, and I don't toggle this. So for the language, basically the name of the profile English, and then picking up the language that I want for that profile, and the cutoff. So I save this. So now I have a language profile for English. Let's create another one for Spanish. So we create that, and we say this is going to be Spanish. We add that, and then we say this is for the Spanish subtitles. We leave that as it is, and we pick ES, which is the code for Spanish, and we say save. And then we can create a new profile that says all. So in this case, we would add a language here twice. The first one's going to be English, the second one's going to be Spanish. If you have more than one language, you keep on clicking and adding, right? And then for the cutoff, you could leave it blank. This basically, the cutoff is that you have to have that specific language no matter what. So if you, for example, want always to make sure that you have English and you don't really care much about Spanish, then you can say that. Or if you want to make sure that you always grab Spanish, we put Spanish as the cutoff, and once it finds that language subtitle, then it finds that okay, it's done. I found what I needed, right? If you leave it blank, then you don't have a cutoff and it'll just look. So however you want in this case. Let's just leave it blank. Then the next thing, or actually no, let's pick English. And then we save it. So now we have 3 profiles, and these 3 profiles are one for English, one for Spanish, and one for both. And here at the bottom we have something that says default settings, so we can actually set up default settings. If we click on the toggle for series, then it's gonna say apply this profile to all the series added to Bazarr. So let's say we want all for all the series. And for movies, we also say we want all of them. So by doing this, we're saying whenever we add a movie, we download a movie and we have a movie, make sure to grab all the subtitles for both languages for the movies, and the same for the series. The series includes both anime and TV. And then here we basically save these changes. Now we have this part configured. Now we go down to the providers section, and in here is where you will specify from where you will retrieve those subtitles. There are websites out there that are free. You can create your own account and then use them to download your subtitles. Some of them that I recommend, I'm going to put them right here. When you click on the plus sign and you go into the drop down, Addicted is definitely a good one. So I would recommend that you put Addicted. You need to create an account and you will have your username, your password, and you can also get your cookies set up in here. Another one that is good, Argentine, if you're from Spanish speaking countries, this website has a lot of Spanish subtitles, so it's a really good one. Additionally, I would recommend that you add down here opensubtitles.org and opensubtitles.com. They both need a username and a password, so you just need to go into the website and create that account. What else? Additionally, I would recommend Subdivex is a good one, especially if you need Spanish subtitles. So that's definitely a good one. What else? There's Subscene. It's shady right now. There's a message there that says broken, may or may not work. So, but if it does work for you, it's a good place to get subtitles. Let's see what else. Subtitulamos TV is another one for Spanish subtitles, so that's a good one. Super Subtitles is a good one. This is free, that like you need to put a username or a password or anything. So let's just add that for now. And TV Subtitles is another good one that you don't need a password for. Let's keep on going. Yifi Subtitles is another one that is good and you don't need an account. And I think Wisdom. Yeah, Wisdom is another one that you can add. They don't need credentials. So you basically you keep on going and adding your accounts and your providers that you have from that list. And then once you're done with that, then you save those changes. We click where it says subtitles here, and here we're going to make sure that the subtitle folder specifies that we store the subtitles alongside the media file. So it's going to put the subtitles right next to the movie files, or like the anime or TV series files. And here, if you have a anti-captcha provider, you can add it here. I don't have one, so I'm not going to put it, but there are tools there that you can use for that, anti-captcha and death by captcha. And then here, by default, it comes with the adaptive searching, which is like a limit so that it doesn't hit your providers too fast. But I honestly just remove that. I just let it be. And what else we can do here? Let's check on post-processing. Post-processing, I leave that encoded to UTF-8. That is correct. And then let's add the common fixes. So like, is there white space or punctuation issues in the subtitles? It fixes that for you. And I believe that is it. I don't need to do anything else here. I'll just leave it like it is and save. You can apply other changes, like for example, change the color of the subtitle and stuff like that, but I never really do. And then here, we're gonna click where it says Sonar. And this is how we're gonna integrate with our Sonar application. So we enable this, and then what we do is we put our usual information here, which would be the IP of our NAS, but then Sonar is on port 8082 in our case, so we specify that. And for this part we need to put the API key for Sonar, so let's grab that real quick. So we go here into Sonar settings, and then we go into general security, and we grab this API key and we put it here and we test it, and it says that the version is provided, so that means that it was able to connect with Sonar. So then we come down here and we can make other changes here for how it handles our subtitle grabbing. Here you can specify like a score for the subtitle files. By default it starts on a very high number, which is 90, but I've found that it can be times where there are subtitles available but they're not as good with the score, so I usually take this down a bit, maybe to like 80, sometimes 70, and that should be good enough to get most of the subtitles that I need. You can tweak this as much as you like to make sure that you can get more subtitles. The higher the score, it means that it's more likely to match the video and not be out of sync and stuff like that, but sometimes lowering it a bit helps you to grab that subtitle. And what else here? Yeah, I don't do anything else. The only thing that we do need to do here is at the bottom where it says path mappings. We need to make sure that we map those paths. First of all, let's just save the changes that we have so far, and then we need to add the mapping. So we're going to click on the add button here, and we're going to do it twice. Why? Because we have a folder for anime and we have a folder for TV, so we need to add those two in here. So within Sonar we have anime and TV, but within Bazarr we have them mapped as anime with lowercase and TV with lowercase. So we select that, and that'll map the folders appropriately between the two applications. So now we can go back and save, and we are done with the Sonar part. Now we should be able to go ahead and do basically the same thing for Radar. So we click on Radar, and in here we're going to make sure that we enable Radar. We put the IP of our NAS, and we know that Radar is on port 8083 if I'm not mistaken, so let's validate that here. 83, yes, that's Radar. Let's log into Radar because we're gonna need to get that API key. So let's make sure we're there and ready for when we need it. Okay, so now let's get that API key. Let's put it in here and let's test, and we got the version number, so that means that we were successful in connecting to Radar. And in here in the score with the movies tends to be by default lower, which is 70. I leave it as it is. It's worked fine for me with a 70 score, so I just leave it like that, and we go here, we save first, and now we can do the mapping. So we come down here, click add, and then we search within Radar. We have our movies in the /movies folder, and within Bazarr we have /movies also. So now that we have mapped it, we can go back up and save. And now we have established a connection for Sonar and Radar. If we go here into notifications, that's if you want to enable notification systems, like a bunch of them that they have here. I honestly never use it, so I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to skip it. And then in the scheduler, here's where you specify how often you want the applications to sync. So this will sync Bazarr with Sonar and Radar, and then here you can specify for series updated every hour, for episodes every hour, for movies every hour. I leave it as a default. I honestly don't change anything here. And then for disk indexing, which is reading all the files in our disk to identify which episodes and movies we have. That's scheduled to be done daily. I honestly don't change this. I leave it as it is. Same for movies, daily. And then in the search for subtitles and upgrading of subtitles, I leave it as it is, 6 hours. That's fine for me. 12 hours, that's perfect. And for the backup, I want my application to back up every week on Sunday. at 3 in the morning, so I leave everything as it is. So I just don't do anything. I haven't changed anything, so I don't have anything to save. And then in the UI, you can here specify the amount of things that you want listed in your view. I leave it in the default of 25, and the style here you can change if you want it to be light, if you want it to be dark, or you want it automatically. I leave it auto, so I don't have anything else in here. And that's basically all the configuration that we really need to do here. If we go into system, we just have an option here to see details of our tasks, and here you can check if something is running or not, and you can manually trigger a task by clicking on the play button next to the task name. And we can view the logs here to see if we're having problems with something. This helps us identify that. When you go here into providers, you can see the list of all the subtitle providers that we configured, and we see if it's working or not. And you can refresh here to make sure that all of that information is accurate. Here's where you have the information about the backups of the application. Nothing has been backed up yet, but you can come here and back it up manually. If you click on status, you see more information about the application, like the version and all that stuff. If you go into releases, you see the logs for the releases of the version of the application, and in announcements you see announcements provided to you by the application developers. So that's basically that there. And if we go back now into the icon here, it's empty because currently I have nothing in the system. I deleted everything that I had downloaded as part of the tests of the other applications. So let's do a test, and let's show you how this would work. Okay. Okay, for the purposes of testing, I am adding a little bit of content here, and I'm waiting for it to start downloading. I've added the Ahsoka series and the Bleach series. I'm gonna look for the last season of the Bleach series so that I have some content that is anime and some content that is just regular TV. And that should get us some files to look subtitles for. And inside Radar, I'm waiting for it to load right now. I've added a few movies that are already downloaded. The Star Wars, the 3 latest Star Wars movies in the sequence. So you can see like The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. So those are downloading. So that'll give us a few movies to also check that it is able to work and grab the subtitles for those. So now let's just give it time to do its thing, because it is now gonna take a little bit of time and I don't want to bore you waiting for it to download. We'll be back when we have those files available. Okay, so I let it download a few episodes of something that I know is gonna be available right now, which is the Ahsoka series for Star Wars, and the Bleach, the latest season of Bleach, which is an anime. So we have a few episodes here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 8 episodes of anime, and we have like 7 episodes of Ahsoka. And I also had it download a few Star Wars movies just to have something. It's done with 2 of them. The third one is importing it right now, allegedly. So we have something here, and then we can go back into Bazarr, and it has only synchronized part of it. So we see that it found out that we already have the Ahsoka episodes, but it hasn't synced with Bleach yet, since the task is pretty separated in time wise. So it's probably one of the reasons why it's not aware. So let's see here if we can index all the files that we have in the disk. So here's for the subtitles that are supposed to be existing for the episodes, and then we'll do the same thing for the movies here. Okay, that's done here. And then search for wanted movies subtitles. I'm not going to trigger that yet. And then let's sync with Radar and with Sonar again to see if there's any progress in recognizing that we have more files. Now with Sonar. Okay, it's taking its time working with this, so hopefully we'll see some progress. Let's go back into the series and see if it detects any differences now. Okay, still hasn't synchronized the Bleach part. In the movies at least, we should have 2 movies. Let's see, it's kind of slow. Yeah, I'm having some problems with the NAS. The virtual NAS is repairing the storage because something weird happened. Like one of the disks was for some reason disconnected and that caused that. So maybe that could be the issue that I'm having here. But yeah, let's go back in here into Bazarr. And at least with what it has already determined, we can see some details here. Yeah, I'm having some troubles because of that probably. Alright, I've given it a little bit of time and now it has synced better with sonar and radar, so now it knows that I have movies and those shows there. And if we go here into the series, we can see that it can tell that I have 7 episodes of Ahsoka and 7 of Bleach. And if we go into Ahsoka, for example, then we can see like the details about all the episodes. One thing that is really good about Bazarr is that if your video files already have subtitles embedded within it, it is able to determine that from the files. So if you go here on the subtitle area and you highlight it, it tells you it has the English and Spanish subtitles embedded in there. And for all the subtitles that are embedded, you will see that. That means that it's part of the video already, so you don't need to download the subtitle because it's already there. But let's go back into Bleach and see what's the case here. Okay, we see that this one has English only, this one English, and then here looks like it doesn't have subtitle. Oh, it does have the English forced, but it doesn't have Spanish. So that's why we get this little option here that pops up when you hover over it. Since this is not the format that we wanted the subtitles in, that's why English is still searchable. So in here, if we want to look for that subtitle, you can just go here and click on search and it'll trigger the search for that subtitle of that episode. And you can do search for Spanish too and see if it finds it. It did not find anything apparently, so we're in bad luck there. But yeah, the others, they have subtitles, most of them, but they don't have Spanish. So we could try, if we select here on manual search and we click, then we can trigger a search there for the missing subtitles of that episode. And then it's not pulling anything right now, so it looks like any of my indexers don't have anything for Bleach. So that's sad for the test, but let's see. Well, already Ahsoka has it, but let me see if it can pull something. Alright, so in this case, if we needed the subtitle and we do the manual search, then we would get these results here, and then we can pick one of these subtitles to download and to try to see if it works fine with our video. So in this case, I would click here, for example, to trigger the download of that subtitle. Since it already has it, I'm not gonna trigger the search. Let's go into the movies section, and here we have 3 movies, and it says that the audio is in English and this one has French and Spanish also. And if we go inside the movie here, we'll see that it says that the language is English, right? And we have the 3 dots here where we can do things like if we have a subtitle, we could actually sync it. If we click on this button here that says sync, if you download a subtitle but it's not in sync with the video, it can actually fix it for you, or at least make it better. And if you click here, it'll scan the disc to make sure that, you know, if you have subtitles or not. For this movie, we already have the English, the SRT file, so the subtitle is in SRT format. So if we go into the NAS, we could validate that by going into the media movies, and then this movie was The Force Awakens. So we could go here, and here we go. We have the movie file here, but we also have the subtitle file that was downloaded for it. So you would see always that the subtitle file is next to the video file, and it'll always have the .language .srt extensions. And so like I said, you can synchronize if they're not properly synchronized, and you can perform your search directly from here. If you click here, it'll do the automatic searching. If you click the manual button, then it'll bring up the search, and then you can pick the subtitle that you want. So that's something you can do. Like if it automatically downloaded a subtitle but it's not like the best, it's not in sync or something, and you think there's a better one, you can come here and manually look for one yourself, and it'll show you information like, for example, the score. So this is a really good subtitle. Apparently it has 99% score, it's in English, it's from opensubtitles.com, and you see a lot of information, who uploaded it and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how you use Bazarr to download subtitles, and it works, as you can see, with anime, TV, and movies. And I hope you found this video useful. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Feel free to suggest me topics in the comments below, and I'll add them to the backlog. And remember, I do not monetize this channel. If you like the content and you want to support me, feel free to donate on the link in the description below. You can donate with PayPal, or you can donate with Bitcoin if you want. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.